Before we dive into Rome's wild origin story, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a history epic. Your support keeps these journeys marching forward. A mythic kickstart. What if I told you that one of the greatest empires in history began not with a strategic plan or a political manifesto, but with a story? A story about two brothers, a hungry wolf, and a single, defining act of violence. This is the story of Rome, or at least the story the Romans told themselves about their origins. Imagine two infant boys, Romulus and Remus, cast out by a jealous king. But they do not die. A mother wolf discovers them and nurses them back to health. The tale isn't literal truth, but it reveals how Romans saw themselves. Tough, resilient, favored by the gods, born of untamed nature. Set in 753 BC, the myth gave Rome a destiny from its first breath, and a brand that would conquer the world. For its first couple of centuries, Rome was ruled by kings. But in 509 BC, after tyranny and the outrage of Lucretia, the Romans had enough. Led by aristocrats like Lucius Junius Brutus, they expelled the last king. They vowed never again to be ruled by one man and founded a res publica, a public affair. No kings, two consuls, elected for a year, each able to veto the other. They commanded the army and oversaw government, but their power was temporary and shared. Real power centered in the Senate, the patrician elders, who controlled finance and foreign policy. Their influence, auctoritas, could make or break careers. Most Romans were plebeians, farmers, merchants, artisans, with little early power. They could be forced into debt, lose land, and had no say in laws. So they struck, literally walking out, refusing to work or serve, until reforms arrived. Tribunes of the plebs gained veto power over consuls and senate. Laws were written down, the 12 tables, so judges couldn't make things up. Eventually, plebeians could be consuls and join the Senate. The Republic wasn't equal, but it fostered shared civic duty, loyalty to the state over any single ruler. That unity became an engine for expansion. How did one city come to dominate the Mediterranean? Systems engineering. The legion, disciplined, adaptable, about 5,000 citizen soldiers in a self-contained unit. They fought pitched battles, built forts overnight, and marched for miles. Standard kit, gladius, pilum, scutum, tight formations that were hard to break. Genius in logistics, conquest and occupation. Roads, bridges, forts, towns. The army as a mobile construction company. All roads lead to Rome because 50,000 miles of stone-laid highways actually did. Straight, deeply founded, built to last. Some still usable today. Arteries for soldiers, tax collectors, messengers, and trade goods. The software glue was citizenship, extending rights and allied status to turn subjects into stakeholders. Locals served, gained wealth, and eventually entered government. Assimilation fed Rome's manpower and loyalty. But expansion brings friction. Enter Carthage, the maritime merchant empire. Hannibal avoided Rome's navy, marched from Spain, and crossed the Alps with elephants. He crushed Rome at Cannae, encirclement and annihilation. Rome adapted. Scipio defeated Hannibal at Zama. Carthage was destroyed. Success bred a problem. Superstar generals commanding loyal armies far from Senate control. Loyalty shifted from state to general. Pay, plunder, and retirement lands sealed the deal. Civil war became a political tool. Julius Caesar, brilliant politician, charismatic speaker, devastating commander, conquered Gaul and got rich. His dispatches were masterful PR, making him a hero of the people. Ordered to disband and return as a private citizen, he faced ruin. In 49 BC, he crossed the Rubicon, treason and a declaration of war. Caesar beat Pompey and returned as undisputed master. Named dictator for life, he passed popular reforms, but looked a lot like a king. On the Ides of March 44 BC, senators assassinated him in the Curia. It did not save the Republic. More brutal civil wars followed. Out of chaos rose Octavian, Caesar's heir. After defeating Mark Antony and Queen Cleopatra, Octavian held all power. In 27 BC, he performed a masterstroke, pretending to restore the Republic. The Senate named him Augustus, the revered one, Princeps, first citizen. In name, the Republic lived. In reality, the empire had begun. Augustus crafted a monarchy in republican clothing. He commanded legions, controlled the treasury, and had final say. The Pax Romana, over 2 centuries of relative peace and prosperity. One currency, one legal system, and a navy that made the Mediterranean a Roman lake. Trade boomed. Grain, wine, olive oil, even silk flowed along Roman routes. Urbanization surged across the empire. Monuments rose, temples, theaters, grand baths, amphitheaters, and aqueducts. A golden age of Latin literature refined Roman identity. From Scotland to Iraq, 50 to 90 million people lived under Roman rule. Legions, roads, law, and shared peace held it together. For a wealthy aristocrat, a domus in the city, a villa in the country, duty and leisure in balance. Mornings in the forum, long lunches, afternoons at the baths, libraries, gyms, gardens, networking. For the urban poor, crowded insulae, fire risk, no plumbing, public fountains and latrines instead. Diet of bread, olives, and wine, supplemented by the grain dole, bread and circuses. Entertainment was spectacular and brutal. Hunts, executions, gladiators, and thunderous chariot races. The Pax Romana ended with near collapse in the 3rd century. Internal strife, external pressure, and an empire too big to govern. Dozens of short-lived emperors, rampant inflation, shattered trade, and crushing taxes. Diocletian split the empire and reformed administration and the army. Constantine continued reforms, legalized Christianity, and built a new capital, Constantinople. The richer, urban East diverged from a thinner, embattled West. Huns triggered migrations, mistreated Goths rebelled and crushed Rome at Adrianople. The West leaned on Germanic federates whose hearts followed their own chieftains. In 410, Alaric's Visigoths sacked Rome. The psychological blow was immense. As provinces slipped away, Odoacer deposed Romulus Augustulus in 476, ending the Western Empire. So, Rome fell. But it didn't disappear. You live in its shadow. Latin became Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, Romanian, and infused English. Roman law shaped courts, contracts, property, corporations, and modern civil codes. Engineering, arches, vaults, domes, roads, and concrete still underpins our world. The idea of Rome inspired empires and republics alike. Rome teaches how power rises and why nothing lasts forever. Something to think about.